Women in Afghanistan will be allowed to study in female-only classrooms, and the subjects they take will also be reviewed. They will also have to wear a hijab when attending classes. These are part of a new higher education policy announced by the Taliban over the weekend. A policy some fear could further exclude women from public life.
The Taliban came to announce the new rules for women and higher education to a room filled almost exclusively with men. In future, there will be no mixing of the sexes, and the subjects women are allowed to study could also be restricted. We don't want co-education, and we've designed a structure to end co-education in Afghanistan. Higher education institutes have agreed with that plan, and they're implementing it. The Taliban say their decision is in line with Islam, but critics say segregating the sexes represents a break with the past and will be difficult for practical reasons, such as a lack of female professors, with the result that fewer women end up attending university. Women in favour of change, however, also mobilised over the weekend. They said they welcomed the Islamic Emirate and criticised the anti-Taliban protests led by women in recent weeks. But their message was also that under Islam, women have not only the right to study, but also to work and to inherit from their families. We want to be given the rights that Islam assigns to us. We are Muslims and we want rights that Islam has given us, not the rights that Westerners impose on us. Now they and others are waiting to see if the Taliban's interpretation of Islam will live up to their expectations.
And joining me for more is Vaslat Hazrat Nazimi, head of the Afghan service at DW. Vaslat, given the state of educational resources in Afghanistan today, can women and men be segregated at universities?
Well, Birish, in theory, Afghan women and men, of course, can be segregated, but we must ask what this practically means for Afghan women. There are not enough facilities in every Afghan university, and there are by far not enough professors and teachers who could maintain teaching them separately. This means that the quality of education will decrease significantly. The Taliban have said that in some cases there will be the possibility of male professors teaching women behind a curtain or via video calls. But on top of that, we also have to ask, what will these women do with their diplomas once they have finished university? Will they be able to work in their respective fields? Whether this is a long-term solution, this remains to be seen.
And have women in Afghanistan reached out to you with concerns over these new rules?
There are women who are concerned and who are worried about these developments because they fear that this is the beginning of a downward spiral and slowly taking away more and more of their freedoms they possessed before. But there are also women who are relieved they will be able to keep on pursuing an education. Even under the previous government, not all women were able to attend university because of family restrictions or security reasons. And for some families, the harassment that women had to endure at university was enough reason to not send their daughters to university. For these families, it might actually mean more freedom. There are different perspectives on this, and all are valid.
And you spoke of a downward spiral. Now, I wonder, therefore, if the Taliban, you think, are using these rules as a cover, potentially, to exclude women from society?
I'm not so sure about that. I think it's actually one step ahead of what we were used to seeing from the Taliban in the 90s, but of course this shouldn't be our standard. If wearing a cloth was what it takes for women to be free and receive an education, I think that would be something that Afghan women could put up for discussion, but most women don't believe that they will stop at this. And yet at the same time, we hear reports of women being beaten and whipped on the streets. We hear of killings of former government employees, and this is of grave concern for women's rights activists.
Can Afghanistan actually make any progress if women aren't included wholly in in various public spheres, such as in work and education?
Well, according to the Taliban, they want to include women in accordance of Islamic law. A few days ago, we had no idea what that actually meant, but slowly it has become more clear what they're implying by this, and it's a version of Islam that is foreign to Afghans. Yes, in many parts of Afghanistan, especially in rural areas, women have always been excluded, and for those, this might even look like progress, but we have to look at the country as a whole, and the Taliban cannot ignore those women who have been enjoying more freedom and were able to work in various fields outside their homes. Right now, only health and education sectors are permitted, and they can also not ban Afghan women who are artists and have contributed immensely to Afghan society.
We'll leave it there for the time being, but thanks so much for joining us today, Waslat Hazrat Nazimi.